Katie Couric, killer storms tear across the South, ripping mobile homes to shreds and leaving at least a dozen people dead. A CBS News exclusive. He knows the al-Qaeda threat from the inside because he was a terrorist until he became a spy for the other side. You'll hear his story. Hormone replacement therapy for men? Tonight, the male biological clock and the battle against Father Time. And would you put yourself through this for a chance to spend $600 on a video game? Right now, thousands are doing just that.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Hi, everyone. It came without warning. A tornado plowed into a North Carolina trailer park this morning and tore it apart. By the time it was over, 8 people were dead. The tornado was part of a storm system that has now left at least 12 dead in the South over the past 2 days. CBS News correspondent Jim Acosta is in Riegelwood, North Carolina tonight. Jim?
Katie, people here say they had little time to react this morning, and it's no wonder with the winds from this tornado estimated between 100 and 150 miles per hour. A mobile home community near North Carolina's Cape Fear River was jolted awake by a deadly tornado this morning.
I didn't believe it. I know you did.
Wow.
And within a matter of minutes, nearly 40 homes were gone. The twister blew trailers off their foundations. Martin Brown dove under his kitchen table just before his kitchen caved in on him.
I kept hearing the wind, then it sounded like a train was coming. I said, let me get up and look out that door, see what's going on. When I looked out the door, a tornado was coming. And I took off running.
8 people have been confirmed killed here, and that number could go higher.
We have search and rescue personnel on the ground and are combing the total area. We want to cover every inch of the property.
It was the costly conclusion to a fast-moving wave of violent storms that smashed its way across the South. From Greensburg, Louisiana, where a man was killed when his home exploded in one tornado, to this storm-damaged church in Mississippi, to Montgomery, Alabama, where strong winds ripped apart a skating rink, terrifying a group of preschoolers. Among the army of utility crews restoring power to thousands of homes, one worker was accidentally electrocuted in South Carolina. While a twister in November may seem strange a month away from the start of winter, weather experts say it's their second busiest tornado season of the year.
It's the time of year that the cold air and the warm air come together and you have that extreme contrast, and that's what makes the strong weather. This system, though, is a little stronger than normal.
Back in the Cape Fear River community, the danger is gone, but the work is just beginning.
We're going to do everything we possibly can to get people's lives back together as soon as we possibly can and make them whole again.
Authorities now say 2 of the 8 people dead are children, and of the 19 people in the hospital this evening, 4 of them are children in critical condition. Katie?
Jim, was there any warning system in place to let folks know that this was coming?
No, the sheriff says they were relying basically on the TV stations, which is not a bad way to go, but in those communities where there are siren systems, those siren systems can save lives. They just didn't have one here, Katie.
And is anyone still missing tonight?
No, they think as of just about 30 minutes ago, they think they have everyone accounted for. But when it's light in the morning, they'll have another check. Katie?
Jim Acosta in Riegelwood, North Carolina. Thank you, Jim. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., House Democrats formally nominated Nancy Pelosi today to be the next speaker, but her moment of triumph was followed by her first big political setback when she lost her battle to get John Murtha of Pennsylvania elected majority leader. The Democrats went instead with Steny Hoyer of Maryland, and it was a landslide, 149 to 86. Pelosi accepted the loss and said, time to move on.
Steny came out a big winner today. It was a stunning victory for him. We've had our debates, we've had our disagreements in that room, and now that is over. As I said to my colleagues, as we say in church, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with us.
So will Democrats make peace and keep it? Bob Schieffer is our chief Washington correspondent. Bob, the early signs are not too good, are they?
Well, Nancy Pelosi really did not help her cause today, and what has stunned even her supporters is why she would want to wade into this battle where she didn't need to take sides, especially when everybody was telling her that John Murtha simply didn't have the support to get the job. It has raised questions about both her leadership and her judgment, and here's why it rises above the level of a feud. She and Steny Hoyer have never gotten along. But here's the problem that she has now. She is going to have in the next Congress a lot of really left-wing liberals in her party that were left over from this session of Congress, plus a bunch of new conservative Democrats who've just been elected. She's going to have to bring them together if the Democrats are going to get anything done. Not only did this not help that cause today, it has made the gap even wider, and it has raised real questions about her judgment.
And Bob, to make matters worse, I know there's some squabbling now over DNC Chair Howard Dean.
Well, this is also coming from congressional Republicans. They wanted Dean to pour more money into some of these congressional races. Instead, he chose to give it to state parties. They think if he had put it on some of these congressional races, they would have picked up even more seats, and they're pretty mad about it.
All right, Bob Schieffer in Washington tonight. Bob, thank you. Nice to see you. With the Democrats in charge of the new Congress, Senator Edward Kennedy will chair the committee that deals with the federal minimum wage. It's now $5.15 an hour, and Kennedy said again today that raising it is at the top of his agenda. In tonight's installment of our special series, Cynthia Bowers looks at both sides of the issue.
You go, guys.
At the pizza parlor his family has run for 60 years, when Dan Costello hears talk about Washington raising the minimum wage to $7.25 an hour, he worries. And not just about his long-term profits, but also his longtime employees.
Maybe employees that are making $8.50, $9.50. What are their expectations? You know, if the new guy just got raised, what about me? It's a fair question.
Most of his minimum wage workers are teenagers.
How may I help you with your carry-out order?
Susan Cervantes is an exception. The recently widowed grandmother says making ends meet can be a struggle.
It's hard because it only goes so far.
She's actually doing better than millions of other Americans. That's because Illinois is one of 23 states with a higher minimum wage than the $5.15 level set by the federal government nearly a decade ago. This month, voters in 6 more states overwhelmingly approved giving a raise to minimum wage workers and adding a cost of living adjustment. It's an issue that's gaining traction with Americans. Incoming House Speaker Nancy Pelosi promises to make it a priority, putting pressure on President Bush to go along.
I think that we will see a minimum wage increase within the next 6 or 8 months.
An increase that would affect some 15 million Americans who currently earn less than $7.25 an hour. People like Susan Cervantes, who never worried about minimum wage until her husband passed away.
Never really paid attention to it because I had my husband. Now it makes a difference.
For her and her boss, who's already trying to figure out where the money will come from.
If you're going to let your profits decrease over time, the business is going to dry up and die. And that's not good for anybody.
Least of all, he says, for the people his family business keeps on its payroll. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Chicago.
Tomorrow night, we'll look at another issue on the agenda of the new Congress, the high cost of prescription drugs, and why the Democrats want to negotiate to bring those prices down. There's one piece of good news tonight about prices. Cheaper gasoline has us talking about deflation instead of inflation for a second straight month. Consumer prices dropped by 0.5% in October. So far this year, inflation is running 2.4%. That's a full point lower than last year. Meanwhile, a giant in the field of economics died today. Milton Friedman championed free markets and less government control of the economy. He won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1976 and was a key advisor to President Reagan. Milton Friedman was 94. And 4 Americans who work in Iraq for private companies are missing tonight. Their supply convoy was ambushed in southern Iraq. U.S. troops have mounted a search for the contractors. There's much more CBS News straight ahead. And coming up next, a CBS News exclusive, a chilling warning from a spy inside Al-Qaeda. Are potential terror targets listening?